Minister of Labour, Deputy Minister of Finance. Welcome to Studio Lakehouse. It's revamped, it's new. You're the first guest after we have done our changes. So welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Before we come to 2026, I'll probably sort of ask you, how has the experience been from 2024? 2026, of course, was a eventful year, as some would say. But yeah, your experience in the office so far.
Yeah, thank you so much. To deliberate our experience, especially in the public finance and so how the economy is managed, it takes a longer time. Just
Yes.
in a nutshell,
Yes.
we happen to carry out all those things with multiple challenges. The first and foremost, the challenge was how best we could stabilize the macroeconomy. Because the country was in really an economic abyss. How to take it out from that abyss was an amazing challenge, because mainly how we have been institutionalized in the society is not the positive. So we were labeled as the violent group. And again, it took longer time to build the relationship with the diplomats and the development agencies. And however, so we carried it out.
Yeah.
And then there are two pillars in this stabilization. One is to bring about much needed fiscal consolidation. So that is number one. So in the fiscal consolidation, the government wants to collect the revenue to meet its expenses. So without that, so you can't run a government.
Yes.
Because the previous government did not have adequate the revenue. So we managed to just face this situation. And on the other hand, the external sector.
Yep.
So now we are still gradually building our reserves.
In the dialogue of stabilization, if I ask you, are we out of the woods yet? Because what I'm asking is 2026, we had to face a lot of external shocks, a lot of unprecedented, unexpected events, one might say. So are we out of the woods yet?
No, it's like this. Yes, of course. Always we are exposed to risks and external shocks. So we must be prepared for these things. But our economy was not strong enough, not resilient enough to face such situations. But even during a short period, in 2025, not only we met all the fiscal targets, but also we built extra buffer. So that is the key for us to face these kind of external shocks. This is how during this Ditwa, that is an external shock. So government was able to spend additional 500 billion rupees through a supplementary budget. So that is a big achievement, because no one expected, no one believed in that. Everyone thought that the government would be in real trouble. So not only that, even after this, followed by that, the Middle East crisis, again we spent another 100 billion rupees to provide much needed welfare and social spending for the people. So therefore, what I just say, the resilience of an economy is a key. I don't say that our economy is such a strong enough, but we select appropriate policies to face any kind of situation. So it really depends on who you are.
Yep.
What is your political will and objective? So always, as long as we respect the people's mandate, everything is easy, because we don't have any private agendas. Therefore, we can manage. So this has been understood by all the development agencies and diplomats as well.
Since you brought up the development agencies, what is the government and what is your relationship with development agencies like, and what is your aspirations with them?
There are many, mainly the bilateral development partners, ADB, World Bank, even IMF. So by the time we formed the government, so the government was in a continuing IMF program. there was a skepticism whether we would continue with this particular program. So as I just told you, our first priority was to stabilize. So therefore, we did not change anything. We moved it as it is. So it has produced very good results. So that is number one. And number two, and the World Bank, ADB, JICA and others, they have stalled the programs. In some cases, the loans had been suspended due to like crisis period. So we were able to revive all those things. We were able to have more new discussions to come out with new projects. Now, so for 2026, new projects also have been in the pipeline. Another change, in the past, some projects, specific projects took longer time. Now this time we were able to communicate with these development partners, and now we have been able to obtain budget supports, the policy-based loans. So that is much more helpful for us to create space in the budget.
So one could say it's a development inclusive approach that the government is taking at the moment.
Okay, so inclusive approach, yes, still there are some challenges. In order to move towards the inclusivity, we need to have an adequate growth. So this is what the fiscal performance has shown in 2025. The economic growth was 5% in 2025. The same momentum is continuing. The quarter 1 2026 also reported 5.1%, but there would be a little drop due to this external situation. However, it is the macro level growth doesn't mean that the benefits has been really spilled and gone to the general public in the same speed. But we are trying hard. So we are trying hard because it takes time, because these issues are perennial issues, last the decades. Now, the one way is just providing much needed social spending and the targeted welfare benefits while empowering them. But the empowerment doesn't mean that they'll get quick benefits. So this is this mismatch that's seen in the society. But we are in the process of inclusive and sustainable economic growth approach.
That's great to hear, Minister. And also, as a citizen, if we take the consumer side of things, we saw price increases, we saw a little bit more than expected maybe. What can I as a citizen, a Sri Lankan, can expect for the rest of the year?
In the prices, if you just carefully analyze how the prices have been changing. So during our time, so to great extent, we have brought down the price level of general commodities compared to the previous inflation levels. But however it is, when it comes, because prices of essential commodities, food and clothing and all those things, so they are a little bit volatile due to external reasons. So this is what we are experiencing as of now. Within the prices again, the fuel prices, so the energy price will have a direct impact and indirect impact as well. So these are the current challenges as of now. So as far as energy is concerned, it is more likely that no one knows what the Middle East situation is. If the price would further increase, there will be an impact. But government would take measures within its budget space, because it doesn't mean that we are going to control all the price and bring all the prices, but we are trying to manage it by focusing the targeted groups. But other price levels, we manage through our inflation management tools. Actually, central bank is doing a great deal of job to keep the inflation level within this the framework. That is happening.
Would we see the fuel subsidy being phased out from next month?
We will see. Like, it depends on how the prices would move on, because no one can predict. So tomorrow price would go up and again it would come down. If the situation is unbearable by the consumers, of course we will take some measures through the intervention of the Treasury.
I think now towards more of the important part of the conversation. If we take out our reserves, it has been in much conversation. 6.8 billion is not enough at the moment. The reserve target by IMF by 2027 is 14 billion, let's say 12 to 14. From the current levels, how do you see we will be at the end of the year? And are we on track to meet the reserve targets as anticipated?
In a way, the discussion about this particular reserve was, I feel like strategically the political opponents just focus on this thing. This is only one element, and there is no target set by the current program or estimate that we are supposed to achieve at the end of the year, because the reserve means...
But in the DSA there is...
No, even the DSA, this is an estimate only.
Yes,
it is not a target.
Yes.
Target is the net reserves. That target has been already met.
Okay.
So even in the IMF estimates, originally they estimated these numbers as you said, the 15 billion, 14 billion. But they realized when the economy continues, so those estimates would not be realistic.
Okay.
Then they have revised it.
Okay.
What does it mean? The reserves are simply a result of how best you manage your economy. Yeah. The reserves can be built in two ways. Number one is just keeping the economy as it is and restricting the outflow of foreign reserves. You can build the foreign reserves. Yeah. For example, so during the previous government, especially before we formed the government, so government did not pay the loans because they were under restructuring program. So normally and annually we have to pay what's called debts, the servicing, roughly around $2.5 billion. We started repaying already in 2025 and 2026 also we pay more or less the same amount.
Yes.
And 27 and 28 so on. Yes. We would continue. So that is a huge amount. Yep. In addition, we released this the prohibition of importation of motor vehicles.
Okay. Yep.
From 2025 to till now, already LCs have been open amounting to $3.5 billion. Just imagine, had we stop all those things, 3.5 plus 2.5, already $6 billion could have been saved, saying that, okay, tighten your belts because we are in a troublesome period, we want to build on the reserves, then our reserve level would have been 13 billion already. So that is not the proper economics. So sometimes those people who try to drag and divert their attention. We are managing this level of reserves by energizing the economy, running the economy as it is, because that is the place where the economic benefits would come to Sri Lanka. That is how and why we achieved the growth of 5% and now 5.1%. So therefore, don't worry. The reserve is an indication. It is a buffer only in a situation where, so we assume that the economy would stop. So we are not going to do anything. Now we have a reserve of 6.5 billion. What does it mean? It means that we can utilize these reserves to import much needed goods. So I mean, we are not going to scale our economy. We are running the economy. Yeah. We are building. So in that building process, the adequate revenue is coming from our exports. Exports are going to be diversified now. Okay. And again, I must highlight the fact that our foreign remittances, and I must give a due respect and gratitude to those who remit money. The remittances, foreign remittances is remarkably increasing.
So there's no mismatch between export income, including remittances in the current account, and then the import bill that's under control in the balance of payment kind of a perspective?
Yes, of course. So one of the key elements in measuring the economy is the balance of payment.
Yes.
Within the balance of payment, the critical account is a current account.
Yes.
So there are two other accounts, the financial account and the capital account.
At least for the moment. At least for the moment.
Yeah, current account produced a positive result of $1.7 billion in 2025. 2026, the first half, so we were facing challenges, we know. So as a result, so first couple of months, still there were positive balances in the current account. Now, after that, we are reporting negative. But if you take the first half year, now it is almost the zero level. We are very confident that with the other statistics and our forecast, this year would end with a positive balance of somewhere around 900 million to $1 billion US dollars. Sure. With that and the loans that you were in the pipeline with the development partners, it is confident that we can easily reach the target of 8 billion. So that is the revise. It is not really a set target. It is an estimation. That is what I just told you.
Yes.
Even this estimate can go down, assume that the Middle East situation would worsen. So therefore, we would utilize this particular buffer, the reserves. Assume that there would be a currency depreciation situation in the country. Then it is our responsibility to manage that situation, control that situation. How are we going to do this? Central bank would utilize these reserves. So therefore, reserves cannot be taken as a deterministic yardstick to say that so when it increases, the economy is good, it goes down. How best it is managed is the issue.
I think the idea is to understand how best we can manage the future debt repayments also, right, including the current ones. If I'm right, until 2038 we'll be allocating a huge amount of our budgets to the debt repayment, let's say. How do you, if we have this under control, how do you see that 10-year period, or that until we get at least our debt levels under control?
There are a few things in the debt management.
Yes.
Debt is like a double-edged sword. If you use it, it's a leverage. If you use it in a proper way to generate economic the benefits, always debt can be regarded as a positive. So that is the reason why. So if you just take a country like Japan, so Japan has the highest debt to GDP ratio in the world. It is 250 more than. So, but we happen to live with the legacy, their debts taken or the loans taken by the previous government. There's a huge impact on us. So within this extended fund facility program, now we are navigating with a managed debt situation with some targets. The target is, it is 95% of GDP, so debt of 95% of GDP would be all right by 2032. So the question is whether we are navigating our economy in line with that path. Yes, it is. So target of 95% is to be achieved by 2032. Now we have already achieved it. It means that we have a big space to deal with debts. In the future, borrowing would be done with our medium-term the borrowing plan, debt strategy. We are not borrowing a single dollar or single rupee for unproductive things. So much essential things and productive projects only. And again, we changed our debt strategy because why debt was a big burden. There are many issues. Among them, unless the economy is brought up to a level, if you increase your foreign debt component proportion, in a situation like in 2022 or any other crisis situation, so all of a sudden you may not have adequate dollars to repay.
What would be the productive sort of means of use of money? What is the priority areas for the government for productive investment at the moment?
Yeah, I'll come to that. Like just to giving further clarification on this thing. So therefore, now in our debt strategy, we are gradually reducing the foreign debts. So foreign debt would be taken for much like where we do not have the required capital, where we want to get more technology, then we would go for this. But when it comes to the local, so the local debt component would be more. Again, within the local debt component, we pay more attention on the bonds, longer term bonds, not the treasury bills.
What is the targeted ratio, external to internal debt?
There is no such specific, because we try hard to reduce the proportion gradually, because it really depends on the current situation. Sometimes if we can borrow at a very lower cost and the current comparing the current interest rate, so sometimes we can switch it. So it is not deterministic when it comes to political economy. But now we are managing the situation. We are highly confident that we can live with this the managed debt situation in such a manner that would benefit to the economy. And you ask about
government's priority areas in investment, and what are the productive investments the government is focusing on? There are
many. Now, at this particular juncture, government responsibility is to facilitate. Now we have stabilized the economy. The next move from the stabilization, we need to bring investment. To bring more investment, we need to facilitate investors. We need to facilitate the general public. So to facilitate them, The number one is the transportation, logistics, communication. This is why we have allocated lots of money for this. So facilitation tasks. And we have paid attention on logistics arrangement. So owing to the strategical location of Sri Lanka, we have high potential in earning and bringing more investment in the logistics industries. So we have been having more discussions with them. And again, as a low-hanging fruit, we have paid attention on the tourism. Tourism also strategically at this particular point in time is important. And again, value-added industries. So our economy is relatively small, even if we bring more investment, foreign investment. So you would not be able to generate more profits or the benefits to the investors by catering only to the local market. So therefore, definitely we need to move to the export market. This is why this export diversification is there. So that investment, those investment will come through value chain investments.
What are the areas in terms of exports or value-added exports that you guys have identified at this point?
There are several. Among them, the key number one is in the IT, allied services, maybe semiconductors, because some IT related.
Are supply chains advanced enough to?
Yes, in a like there are certain things. So number one, you need to have. You need to believe in your capacity. Sri Lankans' human capacity, competencies are very strong. The only thing the government should really support. So as of now, even without having government support in the previous situation, you can see how the private sector, especially in the IT-related technology areas, so they have been able to really compete with others. For example, if you take the software developed by IT Millennium, I can't remember the year, to find a very big solution to the stock exchange transactions in Colombo Stock Exchange. Now that software has been bought by the London Stock Exchange. So it means that we have the capacity. The challenge is how best we utilize all these things to connect.
Enable them.
Yeah, enable them in a way. So that is one area. The other area is energy.
Okay.
Of course, energy, we have huge potential, but our demand is limited.
Yeah.
But we are trying hard to create opportunities for them. And mineral based.
Would we see the energy costs coming down?
Yes, of course. But it takes time. As we promised in our manifesto, we said that it is possible for us to bring it down. And again, without bringing the energy cost down, we can't expect that the cost of production would come down. So in a way, how to manage your inflation and cost of production, provide more benefits.
Why would you say that you can't expect cost of production to not come down?
There are several variables in the cost of production. So the prices of raw material, as long as you buy raw material from other countries, that is subject to the foreign exchange.
Yes.
So we will manage. And again, the value generation in your production process, your labor, logistic, insurance, transportation, and all those things, among them, energy cost is also very critical to a great extent 100%. When it comes to really manufacturing, even the IT industry.
Yes.
So we have the plenty of opportunities of mixing this energy sources generation, renewable and solar, wind, even other sources are available. But as of now, some agreements are there which have been really made under the previous government for 20 years, 15 years at very high prices. Yes. We are trying hard to bring them down, and we are exploring other possibilities. It really depends. Some engineers are just talking about whether we can go until like atomic the power as well. But even without that, with these renewable sources, in the hydro also, another resource, we believe that in our energy transition plan, in the future, we would be able to bring the energy cost down while creating opportunities for investors. And next, on 25th August, we are going to open up, actually we are going to invite investors to explore our gas deposits in Mana Basin. So everyone was talking about this, the gas deposits. Now, this is the first time we are going to open it for investors. Expression of interest will be called on the basic awareness program will be on 25th.
That's nice to hear. So just to summarize the conversation so far, we would see the shocks from US war still impacting us, and we have the debt part under control.
Yeah.
And government is looking into transport, energy, and other sectors to sort of bolster the economy.
Yeah. And including digital, the infrastructure as well. I forgot to tell about. Yes, please.
So if I sort of divert our attention from debt, future potential of Sri Lanka to sort of government revenue and economic growth area. Okay, the targets could be met. You said in terms of economic growth, but in terms of a medium-term expectation, so would we see we exceeding the targets in a big way, or is that the sort of the approach? Is that the sort of the expectation and the?
Are you referring to the revenue or
no, GDP growth?
GDP, okay. Our strategy is to have inclusive and sustainable growth more than 7% in order to
more than 7%.
More than 7 because
so you guys are pushing hard on
pushing that. In addition to the current issues of the managing the macroeconomy and bringing more investments, we have another utmost important task. So that is none other than just solving the problem of poverty. We have a perennial problem of poverty, the rural poverty. It takes longer time. 100%. So in order to address these issues, we need higher growth. And again, when it comes to the revenue side, the revenue of the government really goes in the past, like sometimes in the past experience shows us that the much goes for recurrent expenses.
Sure.
Now we are diverting a bigger proportion for the capital expenditure. So this is why His Excellency the President in several occasions we may have noticed said that this year in the budget we are going to increase the proportion for the capital expenses in a number, absolute number. It would be around somewhere 2 trillion rupees to provide all these infrastructure facilities and the development aspects. In order to support that within the given tax rate, tax structure and the revenue sources, by increasing the tax administration, we are confident that we can achieve these targets.
Sure.
So we'll see how best we can restructure the tax system in such a way the collect required taxes in an efficient manner and providing more benefits to the people.
Sure. So we could see 2 trillion being allocated to transport, energy, digital services, and among other things, of course.
Yes, of course. Then this infrastructure, to great extent, the physical infrastructure, then other intangible infrastructure is also there.
Yes.
So including this digital infrastructure. In addition, parallelly, we are pumping money to empower people. That is also part of this capital expenditure because the large majority of...
How so?
Yeah, but it takes time because the empowerment of people is not that easy, especially the women.
Okay.
Labor force participation in Sri Lanka is very low. It's somewhere around 32.
Oh, yes.
So it's a challenge how best we bring. So this is why we have paid attention on the care economy.
Yes. I wanted to ask a question on the labor force participation, and since you're also the subject minister for that, we in the region has relatively lower labor force participation than other countries. We are, I think, at about mixed gender rate is at about 47, 48, I suppose. Any sort of, because human capital is needed for growth. And if you want to bolster the industries, the workforce has to be there. Any plans to sort of expand the labor force as like that?
Yes.
Yes,
that is what one area is the women labor force participation. Okay. When you take statistics of the labor force participation, it is somewhere around 49. It has just gone up to 49, of which the male labor force participation is 67, women 32.
Yes.
So therefore we have some space in the male participation as well. So in the education process, again we have just seen the demographic statistics in the age the range of 15 to 39.
Okay.
So much space is there.
Yes.
There are people who are willing to work, but sometimes, though they are active,
Yes.
there are no opportunities.
Yes.
In our education reforms also would provide the opportunities for them now, but it takes time. You may have noticed our education reforms talks about the vocational path in parallel to the academic path. Starting from grade 6, but at least just to complete one cycle it takes 5 years time. So that is number one in that age category, how to address. But when it comes to the women labor force participation, maybe within several years time we would be able to get some results, because we need to provide some space for women, opportunities for women to engage in the economy without disturbing their domestic work, because they contribute to the domestic work, the care economy at home, the taking care of their parents, children, or some other activities, or to some extent due to our cultural reasons, women are not engaged in productive economy.
Yeah.
We are trying to shift them to a productive economy.
And there's also a
Yeah.
huge data gap in that space as well, right?
Informally,
how they contribute to the economy.
you are right. We were trying to integrate this the data and the collect through this the digitalization process as well, and especially the informal economy also
Yes.
plays a key role from the labor force.
Yes.
Almost 67% is in the informal sector.
Sure.
We do not know whether that is productive, underemployed, or generating benefits.
Yes.
But we really give more attention on these things, and the policies are designed and implemented in that manner to transform the economy gradually and pass the benefits to the people for the long time period. So therefore, people also should look at these things in depth.
Yes.
And be patient enough to get the results of these shared benefits.
Thank you for your time, Minister. But last few questions, let's say, to end the discussion. I don't think it's fair if we end our conversation if we without touching the taxation part of things. For a while, we needed to stabilize. We needed to do so many things and achieve government revenue targets, and which we have done consistently. But it seems like, is it putting a sense of burden to a certain part of the economy? Let's say the formal funds. Have we seen tax base expanding, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, to some extent, the tax net is just increasing. For example, even VAT registration number of files have been almost increased from 21,000 to 35,000. Even individual taxpayers, the number of files registration, because tax net is the broadening.
Yes.
Tax administration is also broadening. Then now we are moving with a strategy of bringing this ratio of indirect to direct, the ratio from 80 to 20 to 60 to 40.
Okay.
But it takes a longer time. But I know that when it comes to taxation, people talk about income tax and the indirect tax.
Both, yes.
So both. Our strategy is to first stabilize this system. If you do not stabilize and integrate, to bring this situation to integrated system and reduce taxes,
Yes.
lose your taxes, of course the economy would be in trouble.
100%.
We are not going to do that, but we step by
What's
step.
sort of the timeline for this?
It really depends. Like maybe it doesn't mean that we need to wait until some years and get the benefits. No, gradually we are passing the benefits. But I'm just telling you, in order to see the full or the tangible result, it would take several years. But even from this year, the next year, you would see the benefits of taxation. So where I know that mainly the middle class people, when it comes to income taxation, when they earn somewhere around 350,000 per month or so, their income is subject to a 30% taxation. So
Yes.
36%.
36%.
So we are trying hard to provide the benefits for them without eroding the entire tax revenue and the tax base. So always we are positive because we are doing the right thing for the economy.
Let's hope for the best then. Thank you for the fruitful discussion, and I think we touched upon a few areas as well. Thank you for being here with us. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you.
Of course, it's my great pleasure joining your program. Hope that we would join again.
Thank you, sir. See you soon.
Okay, see you. Bye.